Hi there. Now we are going to do lesson 79. Let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. A problem cannot be solved if you do not know what it is. Even if it is really solved already, you will still have the problem because you will not recognize that it has been solved. This is the situation of the world. The problem of separation, which is really the only problem, has already been solved. Yet the solution is not recognized because the problem is not recognized. What a powerful statement. Even though inside of God we are one, so the problem has been solved. There has never been separation. Lucky for us, it never could exist because God did not create it. But the problem persists for us because we don't understand that the source of the problem is our misperception. If we began to see all of us as already one and connected, we would solve all the world's problems because we would know that the problem is in perceiving ourselves as separate. And that's really so important because once you realize that we are all one, why would you want to perpetuate the problem of separation? Because that's where all the suffering comes in. Fear only arises from a belief in separation. So let's go on to paragraph 2. Everyone in this world seems to have his own special problems, yet they are all the same and must be recognized as one if the one solution that solves them is to be accepted. This is something that offends our ego because our ego thinks that I have special problems. Their problems are so much better or so much lesser, worser than mine. The ego likes to compare and it thinks we all have different problems. But in reality, we all have the exact same problem, which is the belief that we're separate from the source of all that is. So let me read that again. Everyone in this world seems to have his own special problem, yet they are all the same and must be recognized as one. If the one solution, because that's it, there's only one solution that solves them all, is to be accepted. Who can see that a problem has been solved if he thinks the problem is something else? Even if he is given the answer, he cannot see its relevance. We keep denying that the problem gets solved the minute we accept our oneness with all that is. The minute we see everybody as our brother and our sister, there would be no problems. But because we see people as better and lesser, we think the boss has what we want, so they would be the problem if they want to fire us. We think that our spouse, our partner, our lover, our beloved is the problem of our issues because if we saw them as one with us, as a projection of us, well, we would have to take responsibility for our issues. We think it's the terrorists or the government or the media. We think the problem is out there, but if they're all one with us and we are the ones who are the light of the world and we solve the problem in ourselves and we see them all as one, it's going to take a little time. It's going to appear to take time for them to come into alignment with that. Could be several generations. That's okay. But if we solve the problem in us, they won't be a problem to us anymore. Then it will just be people who appear to be separate, who are one with us, that we get to forgive and love and accept, and then everything is okay. Inside, we would be okay. We would be at ease and at peace about it. Paragraph 3. That is the position in which you find yourself now. You have the answer, but you are still uncertain about what the problem is. A long series of different problems seems to confront you. And as one is settled, the next one and the next one arise. Yep, we go through the to-do list of problems that we're trying to solve. There seems to be no end to them. There is no time in which you feel completely free of problems and at peace. Holy cow. Is that ever true that they even print to-do lists for us? They even give us binders or books or day timers to try and keep us organized because we have so many problems to solve and so many people to fix. It's pretty funny. I used to buy into that too. Paragraph 4. The temptation to regard problems as many is the temptation to keep the problem of separation unsolved. When we get that we're all one energy appearing to have different experiences, we will solve the problem of separation. That's the only problem that we have. Isn't this cool to know that that's it? Sentence number 2 in paragraph 4. The world seems to present you with a vast number of problems, each requiring a different answer. This perception places you in a position in which your problem solving must be inadequate and failure is inevitable. The ego feeds off of our failures or our successes because it gets higher when we succeed, or it goes lower when we fail. And the ego feeds off of the edges. The ego is not in the middle. There's no food for the ego in equality. There's only food for the ego in separation. It's that righteousness, that victimhood that gets fed. So let's go to paragraph 5. No one could solve all the problems the world appears to hold. They seem to be on so many levels, in such varying forms and with such varied content, that they confront you with an impossible situation. Dismay and depression are inevitable as you regard them. Some spring up unexpectedly just as you think you have resolved the previous one. Others remain unsolved under a cloud of denial and rise to haunt you from time to time, only to be hidden again but still unsolved. So what this means is very simple. There's the problem of the food being contaminated. There's the problem of the water, the problem of, the neighbors encroaching on your property or not maintaining their lawn properly. There's the problem of the government cutting back services, or the government doing favors for this group versus that group. The problem of the insurance company not covering my doctor. The problems of wars on terror. We have so many freaking problems that we don't realize that the only reason we have problems is that because we've forgotten to love each other. We don't honor each other as the divine beings that we are, so we are creating problems. But all are already solved by the Creator, because the Creator doesn't see our insanity. It just holds us while we're playing insane. No different than my children when they would put on Halloween costumes. I never bought into the insanity that they were a separate witch or a clown or a Teletubby. To me, they were just my children pretending. So I never try to talk them out of them having a problem of their identity. I let them play. Well, God is just letting us play, because when we finally get tired of the insanity of the game, we will take the costume off. We will take the costume of separation off. Paragraph 6. All this complexity is but a desperate attempt not to recognize the problem, and therefore not to let it be resolved. If you could recognize that your only problem is separation, no matter what form it takes, you could accept the answer because you would see its relevance. Perceiving the underlying constancy in all the problems that seem to confront you, you would understand that you have the means to solve them all. The constancy, there is one constant issue that underlies everything the ego tells us are different and separate problems. If we understood what is constant in all of them, they would all be solved. And you would use the means because you recognize the problem. We would use the constancy, that's the means. We would know what to do because we would recognize the problem. Paragraph 7, in our longer practice periods today, we will ask what the problem is and what is the answer to it. We will not assume that we already know. We will try to free our minds of all the many different kinds of problems we think we have. We will try to realize that we have only one problem, which we have failed to recognize. We will ask what it is and wait for the answer. We will be told. I love that certainty. We will be told. Then we will ask for the solution to it, and we will be told. We're going to ask what the problem is, and we're going to wait for the answer, and we will be told. Paragraph 8. The exercises for today will be successful to the extent to which you do not insist on defining the problem. So watch yourself trying to decide this is a real problem. Perhaps you will not succeed in letting all your preconceived notions go. Yeah, you may not succeed today. That's okay. But that is not necessary. All that is necessary is to entertain some doubt about the reality of your version of what your problems are. That's all we need. We need a crack in our righteousness about our problems. If we allow just a little bit of doubt that I'm right about my problems, maybe I'm not really certain what my problem is. Maybe there could be a problem that I wasn't aware of. Just that little bit of doubt that says it's okay for me to not know it all about problems. It's all that Jesus needs to begin to insert the answer for the truth in there. All we need is a little willingness to open the door just a little bit. You are trying to recognize that you have been given the answer by recognizing the problem, so that the problem and the answer can be brought together and you can be at peace. Let me read that again. You are trying to recognize that you have been given the answer by recognizing the problem. So that's what we're trying to do, is open up the door to say, oh, maybe there is only one problem. Let me get the answer, please. That will lead us to peace, by the way. Paragraph 9, the shorter practice periods for today will not be set by time, but by need. You will see many problems today, each one calling for an answer. Our efforts will be directed toward recognizing that there is only one problem and one answer. In this recognition are all problems solved. In this recognition, one problem, one solution, one problem, one answer. Now we know everything is going to be solved. In this recognition, there is peace. Paragraph 10, be not deceived by the form of problems today. As you look at them, don't let them be different. Don't let them be anything other than one thing. Whenever any difficulty seems to arise, tell yourself quickly, let me recognize this problem so it can be solved. Then try to suspend all judgment about what the problem is. If possible, close your eyes for a moment and ask what it is. You will be heard and you will be answered. Now, please note that that lesson doesn't tell you to be looking for problems. They're going to arise naturally. You're going to have them. Oh, I forgot to pay the bill, or I didn't get my paycheck, or the paycheck was wrong, or somebody hit my car, or I just heard bad news from the doctor. There's going to be problems. You're going to watch the news. You're going to read the paper. If you do that, you're going to hear the neighbor, you're going to be at the office and hear that the company is having financial issues, financial problems, is going to trickle down. You are going to begin to, the problems are going to rise on their own. Your work is to doubt that it's a special problem, that is big or small. Your work is just to be open to the possibility that all the problems have already been answered because there's one solution that has already been given. So you're just inserting into your mind a new belief. That's all it is a new belief for a possibility of something other than how your mind has been used to looking at problems. This is a course in mind training. We are training your mind. Our mind is being trained, because mine has been trained, is being trained as well. Our mind is being trained into looking at things differently, into shifting our perception from there's a million problems to there's one problem. From how am I going to solve this problem to, oh no, the answer is going to come to me. That's all that we need to do today, and that's enough. Thanks a bunch, and I'll see you at the next lesson.